South Alberta wind blowing down on me. South Alberta wind, are you blowing down on me? South Alberta wind, won't you stop tormenting me? And if things don't change, I'm gonna go back to BC. South Alberta wind blowing all around me. South Alberta blowing all around me. South Alberta wind blowing all around me. I'm gonna ride to the Cypress Hills just to set myself free. I rode out last night heading for Calgary. I rode out last night heading for Calgary. I rode out late last night, I was heading for Calgary. I asked a cowboy walking, he said it's 1893. Yeah, he said it's 1893. Well, it wasn't 1893, as you probably guessed. But it could have been. We built up that fire and dragged out guitars and banjos and mandolins and fiddles and drums. We tucked the children into their sleeping bags and tossed blankets under them and over them and got that fire really going. And then we started making music under the stars with the forest all around. This was the Caravan Stage Company, the only horse-drawn theater company in Canada as far as we knew. And when I joined up that spring, it was located in the prettiest part of the Okanagan Valley in BC God ever laid eyes on. That's presuming that somebody else was responsible for this creation before him or her. That was a joke, by the way. Laughing's allowed, dancing's allowed, clapping's allowed. If you want to dance, there's room right there in the aisle. And I don't mind you coming up here and entertaining me. Yep. But it was awful hard to get to that location because it was Fintry Estates. This low-lying delta created by millions of years of Shorts Creek cutting through the deep chasms and ravines on the east side of the Cascade Mountains. The nearest town was Armstrong. The nearest big town was Vernon. And we had lots of little ones like this, so I don't mind the sounds. You stay right where you are, Mama. Unless you have to go. They took me on because I came slightly recommended. I was an actor and I'd had some experience with horses, mainly saddle horses, riding horses, you know, in Quebec and Ontario and down in New Mexico and southern Alberta. So we're here to talk about horses, eh? Well, the horse has been around for a very long time. 45 to 50 million years is what they figure. That's not exactly yesterday, is it? I'm full of bad jokes, so you don't have to laugh. But seeing as how this is a conversation, because that's what I'm hoping we have going here, conversation. For those who like a conversation, just put your hands up. And what's wrong with you, madam, wearing that black shirt? Very good. I love your laugh. Like the cannon. But its older relative, the Eohippus, was an itty-bitty thing, not much bigger than a fox terrier. Had 3 toes on each leg and ate the broad leaves of rainforest plants that were all around here. Yes, all around here. There was no, whatchamacallit? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, these horses started to adapt to a drier climate. And they grew longer legs and stronger sinews and stronger teeth for chewing the tougher prairie grasses. And before many millions of years had gone by, they started looking very much like the horses that we know today, right? Oh, I should warn you, I don't ask any rhetorical questions. Right? Thank you very much. Their bodies grew in size, powerful ligaments for outrunning their predators, things that wanted to eat them. Well, anyway, these horses disappeared about the same time that people were coming over here into this land. We figure about 10 to 18,000 years ago, right? Very good, thank you. Climate change, the end of the last ice age, or being hunted by these newcomers from Asia. In any case, these horses had been going north and across Alaska and into Siberia and Asia and the Middle East, and they even got as far as Europe 17,000 years ago. How do we know that? I knew you were going to ask me that. Well, there are paintings in caves in southern France from over 17,000 years ago in the Lascaux caves, right?
Yeah, right.
There are those wonderful horse images that look very much like the Przewalski horses that you can see down there in the Calgary Zoo, right? How many have seen them? Just put up your hands. Oh, a few. Go down and see those Przewalski horses. They're amazing. Huh. Well, I keep getting distracted. About 5,000 BCE in Kazakhstan, we know that those folks were raising horses domestically for milk and their skins and a little bit of transportation at that time. They were figuring out that these horses can be trained. Horse-mounted messages, a little later, were being delivered on the Persian Empire's royal roads in the 5th century, over 1,700 miles. Okay, now I want to ask you, how long do you figure it took to deliver a message on horse 1,700 miles? Come on. Answers.
10 days.
10 days. Anybody else? Beg your pardon? A month. Okay, anybody else?
2 months.
What?
That's an awful slow.
Okay, you were the closest. 7 days to go 1,700 miles. How long do you think it took on foot? Come on, come on.
6 months.
Beg your pardon?
6 months.
6 months. Oh, well, you're pretty close. 90 days. Here's a quote. There is nothing in this world that travels faster than these Persian couriers, wrote the Greek historian Herodotus. Meanwhile, the Spanish conquistadors, called caballeros, meaning he who rides a horse, were bringing the horses back to the Americas around 1500. Some of them got loose, some of them were stolen, some of them were breeding out there in the wild. In any case, the First Nation peoples, after they got over their initial fright, figured out they could catch these beautiful wild creatures and train them and ride them, do all kinds of wonderful things. The horse spread north to the tribes of the Comanche, the Sioux, the Lakota, the Shoshone, the Cree, the Crow, the Métis, the Blackfoot, the Tsuut'ina, all of the amazing buffalo hunting cultures. Now I have to tell you, I just got a little sidetracked there. I want to tell you without a second's hesitation that this horsey thing for me started in Montreal when I was living with my grandma and grandpa on Hutchison Street, there when I was 4 years old. 3-story walk-up. Now, how is that it started in Montreal? Because at that time, milk was delivered by horse and wagon. Hard to imagine these days, isn't it? Oh, I see a few smiling faces remembering horse and wagon delivered milk and bread and eggs and cream and a few other things. And even dill pickles. Is that what you're chewing on? Yeah. And the horse that delivered that milk, his name was Bo. How do I know that? He was my buddy. I'd watch for him out the little balcony of the 3rd-story apartment. I'd say, Grandma, no, I don't see him yet. Oh, Grandma, there he comes. Holy smokes. And she'd cut up some old shriveled carrot for me into pieces, and she taught me how to hold my hand flat so I wouldn't get bitten. She told me put one piece on at a time, because that way it'd last the longest. And I'd go tearing down those 3 flights of stairs to Hutchison Street, and I'd go out there to the street and I'd say, hello, whoa! And he'd put his hand down, because he knew I had some treats for him, and I was short even then. Out goes my palm, piece of carrot on there. Oh, go ahead. And he had the biggest, brownest eyes you ever saw, and the longest eyelashes, and the softest chin with long hairs, just like me. What a beautiful horse. A big, gray, dappled horse. My goodness, my grandma, my baba, she knew so much about horses because her family raised horses back in Bessarabia, and they traded with the Roma, the Lotari people. Yeah. And she even taught me this song that I'm going to sing for you right now, all about a guy and his horse. Getting a little dry. My Uncle Elliot, he's a guy with a horse and wagon. And as he's on his way to market, he has a little drink of water. There's no one can catch him because his stomach is as empty as his wagon. And as he goes along, he falls asleep and has a beautiful little dream. He dreams that he's living in a beautiful palace, not the poor little hovel whose walls are growing mold. That's his home. And he dreams that he's bringing something of substance home for his children, not pie-in-the-sky dreams once again. Mein Vater ist mit der Pferden worden, fort mein Vater von Jarid, schwer ihm zu der Jungen, weil sein Boden ledig ist, wie ledig sie sein Boden, weil sein Boden ledig ist, wie ledig sie ist sein Boden. Voort mijn vader van Jarid gaat zich dremmel, waarin bonte palats wendt, zijn wend met schimmel. En van de kinderlijk brengt de sterren van hemel. En van de kinderlijk brengt de sterren van hemel. My Uncle Elia is a guy with a buckskin horse. And he wouldn't want for anything else in this world if only poverty would leave his home and leave him and his whole family alone. My Bubba Yule, my grandma, my dad's mom, came from a small town near the Black Sea. It was called Bomaklia. It was just a few kilometers from the north shore of the Black Sea. And she always told me amazing stories about riding horses with the Roman kids who lived not too far away from where they lived, and whose fathers and mothers traded horses with her family, the Brahms. Her people, the Brahms, they had been in the horse business for a very long time, from going way back to the time in Spain when they lived in Andalusia before they got kicked out in 1492. Luckily, Sultan Bayezid II of the Ottoman Empire sent his navy to rescue these people from Spain. In 1903, it repeated itself again when my grandma and grandpa both had to run for their lives from Chisinau, the capital in Bessarabia. They came here to safety. Here's a song written by Malvina Reynolds, who was this amazing, great black woman, writer and poet, that talks a little about similar terrible stories. The countryside was cold and still. There was a cross upon the hill. Now this cold cross wore a burning hood to hide its rotten heart of wood. Oh, Father, I hear the iron sound of hoofbeats on the frozen ground. Down from the hills the riders came. Jesus, it was a crying shame to see the blood upon their whips and hear the snarling on their lips. Oh, Mother, I feel a stabbing pain. Blood flows down like summer rain. Now each one wore a mask of white to hide his cruel face from sight, and each one sucked a little breath out of the empty lungs of death. Oh, sister, lift my bloody head, it's so lonesome to be dead. Now he who travels with the clan is a monster, not a man. Underneath that white disguise, I have looked into his eyes. And I cried, Mother, Father, sister, brother, stand by me. It's not easy to be free. No, it's not easy to be free. My Grandma, her family were the Browns. And she said that that meant brown-skinned, like we were. And like so many other people around us are and were. And I can see it because me and my brother, when we're outside in the summertime, our skin takes no time at all to brown up just like ripe country berries. We were just a couple of kids with brown skin who loved horses. And we loved girls who had brown skin and loved horses too. Give me a cowgirl, fire and a song. Oh, give me your sweet loving all night long. And give me the blue skies and moonlit nights and your eyes that sparkle with the heat of the night. No, I don't want anything more. No, I won't take anything less, unless that someone is you. Unless that someone is you. Well, when we moved to Smiths Falls, my mom's hometown in Ontario from Montreal, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa Vaxman, mom's dad. He had a farm just a short walk south of town, and he had some horses. Of course he had some horses. And I loved to ride and exercise those horses. Now, Grandpa sold some land in town, and they built a movie house there, and part of the deal was that he got a lifetime family membership. So every Saturday night we'd go see the movies, and I got popcorn and a drink. Holy smokes, there's heaven for you. There'd be Zorro, and there'd be Hopalong Cassidy and Roy Rogers and Dale Evans and Trigger. Oh, they were always helping people get out of some terrible trouble, right? Right? Yes, of course. I always dreamed of riding along with them on their adventures. And they had lots of adventures, didn't they? Right?
Right.
Very good. You're still there. The deadly message was burned into a piece of rawhide and handed to me by the sheriff with the bloodshot eyes. And he took hold of my hand and shook it real hard, just like he had done with my dad many times that I'd witnessed. And he said, "Good luck, boy." And I leaped off the raised wood sidewalk into the saddle of Bob, my trusty pinto, and I dug my spurs into his side, which I never do because I don't like giving Bob any pain. But I had to convey the urgency of the moment. And away we flew, and I pointed Bob's nose to the west, and we were flying across the desert, avoiding cactus and always on the lookout for rattlers. Oh, my dear, Bob, he hates rattlers. I don't mind them so much anymore now that I've seen my friends the Hopis do their ceremonial snake dance. There we were flying across the desert, avoiding cactus and rattlers and sliding down shale in the arroyos and leaping across little creeks and charging up the other side of the... Well, Bob, he was flagging real bad. Top of a rise, I stopped him, I got off, I took the canteen off the pommel, I took my hat off and poured my water into my hat, and I gave Bob a drink. Go ahead, Bob. Well, what are you looking at? He's carrying me, ain't he? He should have the first drink. Go ahead, Bob. All right, don't take it all. It was time for me to have a little sip. Ooh, it was so slimy. Oh, it was slimy. This was the only water between here and where we were going. I better finish it off. I put my hat back on. Oh, I could feel the cool water trickle down my back. I got back on Bob, and I went to the quirt. I don't like to use the quirt, but Bobby knows that when I use the quirt, it means get going. We were flying again. It seemed like we'd been galloping for hours across the desert sand, avoiding cactus, the spiny cactus, and always on the lookout for rattlers. Oh, Bob, he hates rattlers. We came into town, the both of us, completely exhausted. Bob, he was really lathered up, the poor fella. I got off him. I looked around for the mayor. I found the mayor. I gave her the message. She took it. She said, "Wait a minute, boy," in a real husky voice.
Wait a minute, boy.
In a real husky voice. She said, "Thank you very much. This is going to help." Now, I bet you're wondering what that message was, aren't you? You're wondering what that message said, aren't you? Yep. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Oh, all right, I'll tell you. It said, my reading was coming along pretty good, but I wasn't perfect. The dam won't hold. Get people to higher ground. And the mayor, he looked at me and he said, "Thanks, boy. You probably saved some lives. You tell the sheriff, thank you." And I got back on Bob, and away we went. I just wanted to make an impression as we were leaving town. Once we got out of sight, I slowed Bob down, because he had really done some fantastic work. Hadn't he done a good job? Just say yes. Okay. No, yes, but he did a good job. That's all right. We can rehearse that later. On the way back, I took Bob by a spring that I knew. Well, we couldn't have gone there on the way down because it was a little off the direct path. So I took him there on the way back. And we had a good drink, and we got back home, and I pulled off a saddle blanket, and I gave him a little drink of water, and then I had to cool him down because, you know, it's not good to give a hot horse a lot to drink. So walked him around for a while, and he cooled down, and I cooled down, and then I turned him loose in the pasture. Yeah, well, you know, Roy Rogers, he would have said, "Good job, boy," and he would have shook my hand. Dale Evans, she would have given me a kiss right there, and she would have said, "You did good, boy." And Trigger, he would have pawed the ground just like that. So I could make sure that I told Bob, Trigger said he did a good job. I got a little song here I want to sing for Dale Evans. This is how I felt about Dale. I hope Roy doesn't mind. I'd sell my boots just to be with you and ride clear across Alberta. Because me without you, well, girl, that just won't do. because I've known for years that I loved you. You wanna yodel? I've known for years that I love you. Thanks. After I joined up the caravan, we were working on a show about Bill Miner called Hands Up. Hands up, nobody gets hurt. Bill Miner was a stagecoach, bank, and CPR train robber. But he was more like a Robin Hood character. He stole from the rich and gave to the poor. After many years of spending time in jail, he knew all about it. He gave a lot of money back to poor ranchers, poor cowboys, and destitute farm girls who had been experiencing terrible abuse on the farms. And we don't have to get into any details. We know too much ugly stuff about that, don't we? Don't we? You still with me? All right, good. I'm glad you are, because I was getting ready to go take a snooze. Bill Miner, what a guy. Here's a song, a terrible song that some stupid person wrote about him. I'm going to sing it for you, and then I'm going to tell you all the errors in the song. Is that okay? You don't mind, eh? Well, that's good, because I'm going to do it anyway. Somebody robbed the CPR this morning at 9:30. Somebody robbed the CPR and I swear I ain't lying. Not much. Hey, mate, clean off with 16 G's and left 2 men lying cold. Somebody robbed the CPR and made off with the gold. Now most of that is a bunch of lies. Bill Miner, the only thing that's right in this song is that Bill Miner, he robbed the CPR. Him and his buddies, Shorty Dunn,